Hi, welcome back to week 3 of Quaranteaching. I'm Maria.
I'm Tim.
And this week we have the honor of speaking with Kim Bearden, the co-founder of the Ron Clark Academy from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi, you all. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Kim, I think we all kind of went into this remote learning all at the same time in mid-March. How did you guys take that on? I know in our district, we primarily use Google Classroom, Google Hangouts. How did that look at the Academy?
It was definitely a learning process. I'd like to think that we had already been innovative with technology. We had already set up, all of our students were fortunate to have iPads. We had internet access already arranged in all of our homes. But I still think it was challenging for all teachers because in a moment's notice, we had to completely shift. And so we stopped schools on a Thursday, and by that Monday morning, we had full-on teaching remotely. And the first couple of days, honestly, we just set up private Facebook groups with each class where we just did directed teaching. And by day 3, we already had all the Zoom lessons being set up, and we used Zoom. But when you talk about lessons learned, some of them were that our school, we have students of all different academic abilities, but we pride ourselves on being very academically rigorous, of really pushing kids. And we actually, I think, overscheduled the computer face-to-face time. We had full-on day-long schedules, and like by day 3, fortunately, we have a culture where parents were very connected. They know that they can approach us, they can share with us. And like the third night, I had a mama email me. She said, "Miss Bearden, we're dying. And so, I called her up and she just said, like, they're in front of that screen all day long. Is there a way that we can fix this? And we thought we were being helpful, quite honestly, because, many of our parents were trying to work from home as well. We thought, we got it. We'll be in charge of the kids. We'll keep them engaged. But it was just too much. And also it was too much because just the uncertainty, the fear, the fear in homes, the grief people were, experiencing, just all of those emotions. And so we really backed it up after that first week, and we came out with a much more reasonable schedule where we would do in the mornings, we had classes online. In the afternoon, kids were allowed to work on their work. We actually set up office hours where kids could, request tutoring and one-on-one or smaller interactions so that we could really connect with them that way. So a lot of lessons were learned along the way.
I think a lot of us had that idea too of we're going to do these plans, and then it's like, okay, well, that was a day. Now we're going to try something new for day 2.
Yeah, it's been a constant evolution. And, our many of my staff members, they have kids too. And so we have always had this culture where, if your kids are crawling over you while you're teaching a lesson, that's great because it makes you real to your kids. Your kids love to see your dog jump in your lap. That's a good thing. So, we let our teachers know that that was okay. But, it was still hard for us, even though I felt like we were a school who were better positioned to start it. And so my heart just aches. I know there's so many schools where, they don't have tablets for their kids. The kids don't have internet access. And their number one priority was just getting meals in the bellies of their students. And so there's just such a wide spectrum. And I think that one of the things from this, I hope that is a lesson that we take forward, is just this glaring spotlight on the inequities in education that we've been saying as educators forever. But I now understand, I feel like now more people are aware of those and understanding, oh my gosh, there's not equal access for everyone.
I was wondering, so how did you manage, at the Academy, how did you come up with the amount of time that you wanted students to be doing the work at home? Because you said, like we said before and joked about before, okay, we're going to make them work, or we're going to give them work to do all day. Obviously you made the adjustment. Where did you come up with the amount of time?
Yeah, we definitely, we cut way back. So the academic piece, there's so many different programs and strategies and ways that we can do that. But when it comes to that relationship building and that one-on-one and looking that child in the eyes, that part I think is even more important than ever because our kids are isolated. And we know that, some of our kids are in wonderful family environments and some of our kids are really hurting because the safest place they feel is when they're with you in that classroom. And so I think that's one of the things that keeps all of us teachers up at night. Is that child okay? I wish I could be there with that child. I know that child needs me right now. I think that's one of the hardest pieces about this for all of us.
Yeah, and you're still a teacher, obviously, and co-founder too. So how did you address that maybe with your staff as far as keeping that social emotional?
Ron and I are the 2 administrators of the school. And so, as a leader, you have to model that first, right? So part of that is just the way that we reach out to my staff and talk with them and check on them and make sure they're doing okay. And not every email is just a do this, these are deadlines.
Right.
how you feeling right now? Do any of you need to talk? We actually set up virtual faculty lounge times, you know, where we could just all pop in, and we just all really like each other. So we would just kind of hang out and laugh and cut up, you know, and spend some time together that way, which I think was really, really healthy. But we talked about ways about how do we do that with our kids as well. You know, that big word that everyone keeps using, but it's important, is just granting grace. You know, times we are always very big sticklers for the academic piece, and you didn't do this, you didn't do this, and that has changed. You know, if child didn't turn in something, I would, you know, I say, reach out to them. Hey, you know, I'm missing this. Is there anything you need to help you get this done? Do you need some assistance? You know, so we were a lot more, instead of putting responsibility on the students, we've been a lot more engaged in, what do you need from me to help you be successful right now? Because we don't know what kind of trauma or experience, and we have, you know, families losing jobs, and, you know, parents in tears, and we have to understand that all of that is a big component. So we have been really intentional about that. And we've done a lot of fun things with our kids. So in addition to class time, we have done a lot of things to engage them in a fun way. We have, on Wednesday nights, we have family night. So families join on Zoom, and we have everything from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire games. We've had Gimkit games. We've had, during spring break, which fell during the quarantine, we had the RCA family vacation. So every day, and it wasn't mandatory, it was like, if you need something to do, every night we had a different vacation event, and so everybody, the families would join it, and it got to be a riot. I mean, because people were just looking for something to do, right? So we had everything from kitchen band concerts. We told all the families to get in their kitchens and pull out all the items and make, you know, and we had a DJ and they were playing everything, and then we'd like focus in on different solos. It was hilarious. And then we had ghost stories. Ron dressed up, and it was like midnight. We told them at midnight to get in under their blankets with candles, and we told ghost stories. We had a yoga instructor. We all were doing yoga on Zoom, which was a hoot, because not everybody, none of us is as flexible. So we have done things like that too, so that we can see their faces. And we also, at RCA, we use something called the house system, where our students are divided into houses, sort of like in Harry Potter, but it's a really beautiful piece of our culture. And so we've done a lot of events that way. So a big piece of it is just that every time we see them, it's not, I'm just going to teach you something. It's that, let's spend some time together because we care about one another, you know, and that way you're able to kind of gauge how they're feeling.
Are you as administrator able to pop in on any of the meetings? Do you hop in on any of the meetings with your teachers and students?
Yeah, that's a really fun thing. So I do teach too, to be clear. I teach 4th and 5th grade art. So I was teaching on lessons too, but you know, we have a culture in our school, because it is a school where people come and observe us teaching, that we all are in each other's classrooms all the time. But it has been really fun because we pop into each other's Zoom meetings. Sometimes we, Mr. Collins, he's hilarious. He comes in to heckle you, but in front of the kids, it's all in good nature. You know?
Yeah, right.
But we've had teachers even co-teach lessons and be able to watch and observe. And so I think it's been really helpful too, because even though, like I said, I'd like to think that we were doing a lot of things innovative, we still have different levels, obviously, of comfort with the technology. One of the things I think is really important in schools is that when you have schools where people are openly sharing their ideas, it always, you know, I get to visit a lot of schools and do professional development for them, and it always breaks my heart when you have schools where everybody just kind of hoards their ideas and that, you know, they're mine. But the idea, I've laminated them, they're in my binder, you know. But, you know, it's important to share, because who benefits? The kids. The kids are the ones who benefit. The other part that's been challenging, of course, is that, you know, this coronavirus is on all of their minds. And at our school, we have this culture where we have school-wide meetings once a week too. I guess that's really important, where we talk about we've always done that, where we talk about current events and things are going on. And so our kids are taught that it's important to watch the news. Well, we had to say, you know, you shouldn't be watching it all day right now. You know, that's none of us should be. I had that problem. At first I was watching all day long, you know, and I was like, that's not healthy mentally. I mean, you want to be informed, but you can't. But just even understanding. So this is the first year. I've taught 33 years. This is the first time I've ever taught 4th grade. I've always taught older kids. And so I've taught 5th forever. 4th will be the same. It's not.
Yeah, no.
Definitely not at the beginning of the year. I started in 4th, went to 5th, and went back to 4th. So I was going from almost, at the end of 5th grade, I was going from junior high to just out of 3rd grade. And it's like, you are not 5th graders.
Oh, it's like, I've never, like I taught 8th, 7th, 6th, I taught every, you know, but it's so different. Adorable. But,
yeah, right.
But it really, even though, you know, and I've grown, it's great to be 33 years in and still have things to learn and grow and understand and things. But, you know, just understanding too, I was in the middle of a lesson on, you know, on sentence structure, which could be more important. And, And, you know, all of a sudden in the comments, and I know I can see the comments, one of my students said, you know, Ms. Bearden, there are murder hornets. And I was like, and then somebody else said, yes. And I was thinking, what if a mosquito bites someone with COVID and then they come and bite me? Will I get COVID? Are we going to die from murder hornets? And so then all of a sudden I was like, y'all, wait, and no matter what I said, these children, they do have news. They have things that have pulled from the news, but they don't necessarily yet have the emotional ability to process all of those things. And they needed a space to talk about it. And so, you know, I had to stop and say, right now, well, you know, this is scary, but right now, the reason you're home is because we're keeping you safe. In classrooms, we're gonna do that, but even online, we have to stop and do that if we see, because they weren't gonna hear anything I said about sentences. They were thinking about the murder hornets.
Not after hornets, no.
So it's been an adventure, and just trying to really ease their fears even more than we normally do as educators.
Kim, I know you guys provide a lot of PD. You welcome teachers into your schools to really show them new ideas about engaging your students. As we kind of move forward into this kind of uncertain time, you know, none of us really know what the fall and winter is going to look like. What advice would be like your number 1 and 2 advice that you would give educators right now?
That we have to learn all that we can, and in this time when it's so difficult, we have to be willing to adapt to change. You know, change is something we always resist by human nature, but we have to be able to adapt, and we've done that. We've shown that we can do that because we've had to do that in this past couple of months, but we've got to do that moving forward. And I would also tell educators the importance of taking care of themselves. Now I'm preaching to myself right now. Like I've got my Diet Coke right here, and I haven't had any, you know, I need to drink more water, and but really we've been I think so many of us have been so focused immediately on the needs of my kids, the needs of my kids, the needs of my own family, the needs of, you know, people I'm worried about. But at some point you have to stop and take care of yourself, or you will have nothing left to give those kids. And so I hope that during the summer months, even though I know many are in classes online and still teaching summer school and things like that, I hope that somehow teachers will find that ability to rest, not only physically, but just mentally, because we need that so we can be our full selves. Can I mention one more thing if I could?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned that we do provide online training for educators. You mentioned that we do have educator training at RCA. And one of the things that we've been trying to do during this pandemic is continue to provide that for educators as we learn. And so we've been providing a lot of online opportunities. We're grateful for MEMIC because they've actually helped sponsor those. Our school is a nonprofit. And so this, the funding from educator training is normally what funds our school. But now during this time, we've relied on wonderful people and sponsors who have come forward to help us. But we have had several online events, most of which are free, that we do on Facebook Live. I can still go back to our Facebook page and you can watch our other 2 virtual online events. They're there. They're about 2 hours in length. They have many tips and tricks for how to use technology in this digital age, how to take care of yourself, how to take care of your students, and a lot of the things that I've shared with you, but a whole lot more from my staff. And so I encourage you to go check those out at ronclarkacademy.com, because they are archived there where you could go back and watch them. And it's cool. The second one we did, Oprah Winfrey made a surprise appearance, and Kiki Palmer and everything, just pouring some words into the teachers as well. But I think my staff is equally as cool, and they have some great ideas that they share with everyone. So I just want to offer that for people that are looking for more ideas and maybe just even a little bit of inspiration. Maybe this summer they'll have time to watch those.
Is that something we can share with our staff, our fellow teachers?
Yeah.
Because you said it's free on Ron Clark Academy.
It's very, very clever. It's very, very different. We're trying to do something virtually that hasn't been done in PD before. So I encourage you to share that with your staff. We also have something called Club RCA, which is a subscription that people pay, but that actually helps to fund our school. But we have weekly Zoom meetings with people in Club RCA, and then they get free access to even paid professional development that we do throughout the year. So, but I did want to make sure I mentioned the free events, because we're just like everybody else trying to provide support to educators during this time and give them ideas as we continue to learn, just like everyone else is.
That's great, Kim. It's been great getting to know you. I hope after 33 years, when have taught for 33 years, that I can still be as excited. And I mean, it just kind of shows through even the computer screen how much you love teaching and love teachers. So I think Marie and I both would, just after 33 years, hope that we can exude that much love and passion for teaching. So
I hope we can meet in person someday. We're going to get out there.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Thank
Thank
you
you
all so much.
much.